It's time to get the story behind the story. Interviews with newsmakers, news breakers, and your phone calls. Radio Vermont presents The Mark Johnson Show.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much for tuning in. Nice day out there so far today, though Roger Hill is telling us we're going to have some thunderstorms coming our way, so he's encouraged you to make sure you watch all of your electrical appliances, including your fabulous computers out there. And also things like modems, which I have to tell you, I just found out the hard way somewhat recently that had a modem that died, and the latest theory was that it was some sort of electrical storm. Coming up on the program today, we're going to get right down to business here. We'll take your phone calls throughout today, and the usual phone numbers, 244-1777. That's our local number in Central Vermont. Toll-free, 1-877-291-8255. We had a nice day yesterday at the University of Vermont. I did. Nice to broadcast from the Vermont Businesses for Social Responsibility Conference. I'll get those podcasts up. Already gotten a couple of requests this morning. I'll get them up as soon as I can after the program today. I will not do that in the middle of the program. Again, our phone numbers. Love to hear from you today. We're going to take your calls at 244-1777. Toll free. You can reach us at 1-877-291-8255. We're going to chat about some mental health issues today. We're going to begin our focus with a really extraordinary effort that'll be happening later on this summer involving something called Camp Daybreak. And joining us here live in our studios this morning, Dan Osman is the director of the camp. He also works within the Vermont Association of Mental Health and Addiction Recovery. It's a new name for that association. And also joining us is the executive director of that operation, a name that is not totally unfamiliar here to the Mark Johnson Show, and that would be Floyd Nease. Floyd is the executive director and was a longtime member of the Vermont legislature. How long were you in the legislature?
8 years.
8 years, okay. Seemed like it was longer than that, probably. Yeah. All right. You miss being in the legislature at all?
I miss some of it. It's, we're fortunate in Vermont to have a legislature that's made up of people who run not because of their ambition, but because of their need to do public service. And I think the collegiality of that I miss.
Mm-hmm. You were in a pretty heavy position as majority leader, kind of a little bit of that hammer position, sort of the bad cop to the good cop of the speaker. So what is it like for you to go back? I've seen you in the building a couple of times this year to go back and lobby on the other end here. People, saying, yeah, Floyd, I remember when ...
On occasion, yes. I mean, it used to be that I could open a committee room door and I'd point at the chair and I'd crook my finger, and they'd come out and talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I chase them down the hall begging for 5 minutes of their time. But the truth is that I don't think there's anyone who I talked to about how they were going to vote who left those conversations feeling like they were treated unfairly, and I have a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle, all three sides of the aisle in the legislature, and I really value those relationships. Everybody's there to serve Vermonters, and I think even in the heated moments, that in a little while you're going to go and have dinner with that same person you're debating right now. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference in that building from other buildings around the country.
Yeah, and it's a small little world that we live in here. I mean,
right.
With some of those legislators too, someday may be working in another capacity where that they're interacting with you and need your help for something.
That's right.
You just never know.
That's right.
Dan, also, I think I would be remiss in not asking you about some of your lineage here.
Sure.
I think many of our listeners are familiar with Donnie Osmond, and you are related in some capacity.
I am, yes.
In that capacity would be
I am his son.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about Camp Daybreak. As I mentioned at the top here, Dan, you are the executive director of this. So what exactly is Camp Daybreak?
Sure. We're a program of the Vermont Association for Mental Health and Addiction Recovery, and we serve 30 kids with a range of social, emotional, and behavioral needs. We're a 1-week program, residential program in the summertime, August 12th to the 19th this year. It's a wonderful program. What we do is we have kids from all over Vermont who come and who are campers for the week. And these kids are kids who traditionally couldn't go to a regular summer camp. They need extra support while they're at a summer camp program. And for us, what we do is we pair them with a high school or college-age volunteer. So while this very unique experience is happening for the young person, the camper, it's also happening for the volunteer. It's an opportunity for the volunteers to give back to their community and really get some insight into mental health and how it affects families and young people. It's a very powerful experience. I actually myself started as a volunteer Big Brother when I was in high school 16 years ago, and I've been there ever since.
Wow, so how long ago did this start?
This is our 54th year.
No way.
I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
I was assuming this was a relatively new program.
No, we've been around for a while.
Okay. Wow. 54 years.
54 years.
And where is it physically located?
We rent right now. We're renting Camp Thorpe, which is in Goshen, Vermont, outside of Brandon. It's a lovely little mountain town, nestled in the mountains. It's really gorgeous. There are pictures on our website if people are interested, which is campdaybreak.com. It's just really wonderful. I'll share a quick Vermont beauty story, actually. In the mornings, please. It's a really wonderful spot. We've had the pleasure of seeing double rainbows, just really wonderful things. But one morning, I was waiting for all the kids and the staff to come down for breakfast, and then we all gather outside the dining hall. And from where I stand, you see a pond, and then there's a mountain right next to where we are. And as I was standing and waiting for the 5-10 minutes that I was waiting for them, this cloud came up over the mountaintop and came down the mountainside and then settled in camp. And for the entire morning that day, we were just shrouded in this very dense fog. It was creepy and gorgeous and really nice.
Wow.
But that happens every day. Things like that happen every day. It's really nice.
Did Floyd appear out of the cloud? Right?
Yeah.
All right. Is that a mosquito time of the year?
It can be a little rough in terms of mosquitoes. Last year it was so wet that it was very buggy. But, it's all part of the camp experience. We have plenty of bug spray and sunscreen for the kids. But I'm always really impressed and really moved by how, even if it's a year where it rains every day, the kids and the staff come away from the experience really having this life-changing opportunity. And we've talked to families of campers after camp, and there's real documentation of growth just from having this strength-based experience. We meet the kids where they are. We're not a mental health setting. We don't work on we work on life skills, but we're not treating conditions, or providing therapy. We're providing relationship and friendship that can build strength and build motivation and empower kids. And it's really wonderful.
Dan, talk a little bit about the relationship between the volunteers and the kids.
Sure. Okay. So it's a one-to-one relationship. Nice question, Floyd. Thank you. It's a one-to-one relationship.
That's the last question you get to ask, by the way.
Okay.
Fair enough. We have 30 kids, like I mentioned, and we have.
Just remember, you're not in the legislature anymore. Okay.
There are rules. There are 30 kids. We have 55 volunteers. So each kid gets a big brother or a big sister while they're at camp. But we also have 15 counselors who are also college and high school aged volunteers. So what does that work out to, like a 1.5 to 1 ratio?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a really rich support system. And for me, as a big brother, for 4 years, my first 4 years that I was there, the experience was about giving all of myself to this young person, all of my energy, all of my attention, really providing an opportunity where they were the focus of the experience. It wasn't about let's go to the pool because it's scheduled pool time. It's about let's go to the pool because that's what you want to do and that's where your interest lies. And so really the camp program is designed in a very flexible way to be able to be molded around what the kids want to do while they're there. We literally have the entire afternoon scheduled as free time, where they can explore the pool, they can go play games. We have a playground, a pond for fishing and catching frogs, arts and crafts, a whole gamut of camp activities where kids can, go to each one for 5 minutes, go to one for 3 hours, really explore what they want to do and where they want to be. And the volunteer, the big siblings, are there to kind of support that, and not only support them in the activities, but support them in building social skills with their peers and the volunteers who are around.
Okay. I think where Floyd was driving at, though, with that question is talk more about the relationship and I guess what the volunteer gets out of this. And
Sure.
maybe a better way to describe this. Why did you even get involved in it?
Well, it's a funny story, actually. And now that I'm visiting more high schools, the context of it is very funny. So I was a Twinfield Union School graduate. And in my junior year, I was working with kids in the special ed department at the school in my free time. And I was approached by a friend of mine who had been doing the program for a couple of years, and she mentioned that it would be something I might enjoy. And so in 1997, that August, I went as a volunteer Big Brother. And from there, as soon as you enter the environment, it's a supportive environment for the kids, absolutely, but also for the staff. And a lot of folks who I talk to, they come back year after year because that supportive environment is what sustains them throughout the year as well. So there's this interesting parallel experience going on. For me, it was really eye-opening, and I had never really worked with this population before. I was working with kids mostly on the autism spectrum, mostly with Down syndrome, but not kids who were from other communities who I hadn't really known well. And so to have that opportunity to get insight into their lives was very powerful and informed my college career. I became an elementary education major. Then I taught for 10 years through Howard Center. And now I've had the pleasure of coming to the association full-time as the first full-time employee of Camp Daybreak. In the meantime, I met my wife there. We have a gorgeous 1-year-old daughter. The experience really formed who I was. And really is responsible for the life that I live now, which I'm forever grateful.
Wow. I'm not entirely clear who the children are that are going to this. Where are they coming from, and what are some of the challenges they have?
Sure. They're from all over Vermont. They're from the ages of 8 to 11 in there. And they're referred by families, social workers, educators. And these are kids who have a range of diagnoses, ADHD, some are on the autism spectrum, some are just in need of some additional social support. I have had the pleasure of talking to a lot of families, and one girl that went last year had been to summer camps before, was very quiet, very shy, didn't have a great experience at these other camps, but came to Camp Daybreak and really blossomed and opened up to the experience because, it's okay to sit off and kind of be yourself for a while, but, and then come back in. So there's that space to support their experience. But really, there's a range of things, and each kid, when they're referred, they fill out an application that kind of goes through the entire gamut of what we might see at camp, and we use that application to gauge a plan of care for them while they're at camp. The volunteers, the professional staff, which includes myself and a number of other people involved in mental health, can really make a plan around what their needs are using this collaborative system with the volunteers and with the mental health providers to build this experience that's really supportive for the kids.